Bună dimineața și bine ați venit la sesiunea cu numărul 15 din Valurile Inteligenței Artificiale, live din Nuba Beach, Mamaia. Eu sunt Alexandru Mărăcineanu, sunt CTO-ul companiei Termene.ro și, după cum v-a spus Adrian Dragomir ieri, astăzi voi fi gazda voastră și voi fi alături de invitatul nostru pentru a treia zi consecutivă, Dave Ebbelaar, data scientist and co-founder Data Lumina. În ultimii 3 ani, la Termene.ro, am avut oportunitatea de a integra inteligența artificială în produsele companiei noastre, alături de o echipă formată din profesioniști. În acești 3 ani am lucrat împreună cu 2 experți în domeniu, unul în machine learning, Bogdan Kim, alături de care am dezvoltat un risc de insolvență al companiilor, și alături de Ștefan Dumitrescu, invitatul nostru din sesiunea numărul 8, expertul Adobe, care ne-a ajutat să învățăm și să ne creăm propriul nostru model de limbă, pe care l-am integrat apoi în produsele noastre precum dosare în instanță, buletinul procedurilor de insolvență sau monitorul oficial, partea a 4-a. So let's start this session. Let's switch to English. Hello, Dave.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning. In the last 2 sessions with you, we had the pleasure to learn how to use LangChain and to understand better the concepts and the architecture of this framework. And today we will try to build something more product-oriented and to build a live demo. I think it will be a great occasion for the people at home to see how to use this tool and to understand visually better how can monitor and track results.
Exactly. Yeah.
How are you today? How was your stay until now?
All good. So we're loving Mamaia and this area so far. So yesterday the weather was a little bit off, but today's beautiful again. So so far it has been really good. We're staying at a really nice place. This whole venue here, of course, very beautiful. All good.
Yeah. We hope that you will extend your stay in Romania. Maybe catch the parties in the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you make us a little recap about the first 2 days for the people that didn't watch the stream or the replays?
Yeah, sure. So let's do that. So on Monday we really started off with, I would say, the fundamental concepts that you need to understand in order to build applications around large language models, the models that power, for example, ChatGPT. So we really started with the basics about how you interact with these models, all kinds of like terms and definitions that you need. And then we went a step further to, okay, what if you now want to incorporate, for example, your own data, your company data, with these models. So not just asking questions back and forth, but also providing it with information, new information that is not trained specifically into the models itself. This is really where businesses can get value from, not only that, but this is a real good use case where businesses can get additional value from these models. So we really showed the architecture of loading data and then vectorizing it, turning it into numbers so the models can calculate with it and do something with it, and then how you can use that to formulate answers based on your own data. So that was really the starting point for day 1. And then we transitioned into, okay, so we talked about all of this, and then I showed how with LangChain, which is a framework that you can use, with a programming language, that you can use to make all of the steps that you need to do in order to turn this into an application, to make that really convenient. They really did a lot of the hard work. So if you want to get started with this as a developer, programmer, you can just use already pre-built blocks, functions, methods, that can do that. So that was really day 1 and also a bit into day 2, but then more in day 2 we really went into, okay, what are some use cases that you can look at? What are some use cases that you can think of when you're building applications with these large language models? So we looked into how you could, for example, create a Slack bot, how you could integrate it into your own company Slack or Microsoft Teams, for example, and then ask questions. And also how we could take a video from YouTube, get the transcript, and then ask questions about that. So really more into some examples of what you can do with it. So that was kind of like the recap of the first 2 days.
Okay. So we build practical things. We managed to get this tech from, let's say, browser. Also, you can use ChatGPT in a browser, but we also took this and made available for our employees, let's say in a company using Slack or Teams.
Yeah.
Also, we can control the prompting and help them guide with specialized prompting on specialized channel, let's say. So this is just one or two small examples of implementations, fast implementations.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need very big package or too much experience, let's say, in programming to build this stuff. You also talked yesterday with Adrian about the learning curve, the necessary learning curve to manage to build a proof of concept or an MVP, and how much with a regular employee would take to manage to, let's say, use this technology.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that you said something like 3 months.
Something like 3 months. I would really say if you have someone who is who likes technology, who likes to work with computers, has kind of like a what do you call it? Is just interested in that, but has no programming experience whatsoever. I believe with like the right like learning path and dedication, that within 3 months you can build little like MVPs, little prototypes, proof of concepts, even within your own company to show the capabilities of artificial intelligence and large language models. And I think that's also a nice bridge to what we will be doing today in today's session, because we're going to do some live coding. We're going to try and build something really from the ground up. So we'll see how that goes, but we really like want to show like how once you understand all the building blocks and Python and LangChain, of course, how pretty quickly you can build something that can already add value to a company, to a business.
Yeah, actually, like you said, we can start building, let's say, internal tools much faster.
Yeah.
We can use our database, our documents, and try to train or to learn from them. And after we get a product that can be used by our colleagues, can be tested, we then can make the next step and make it available for the public, for the audience.
Yeah.
Like Adrian said yesterday, we like to live code. We also try code interpreter in GPT-4 or other tools in the first 14 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I think this will be the first session with a full. We will try to make a full MVP with live coding.
Yeah.
So let's start.
Let's do it. So the idea for today is to create a meeting or video summarization tool. And why that? Because I think every company can relate to this. Every company has meetings, lots of meetings. How convenient would it be if you have your own like personal transcriber assistant AI at your disposal, where you can just record your meetings and then just plug it into the system, and you'll get a nice summary of everything that was said in the meeting itself. So that is what I want to focus on for today. And we're going to first use some basic building blocks to get transcriptions, get the text, and then we're really going to experiment over here and see. I'm also curious to hear your take on it, Alex, to see what kind of like smart prompt engineering we can do maybe to extract like next steps, because we can just simply say like summarize a conversation and we will probably get some results, but we can, I think, be a little bit more clever also, maybe depending on the type of content that we're working with, saying really, okay, first we do want the summarization, then we maybe want some next actions, kind of like that is maybe what I want to get into. And then while we're working on all of this, I also want to introduce you and show you another new framework that is related to LangChain, the building blocks that we will be using. But it is a new framework on top of that, which is called LangSmith. And we can use that to monitor, debug, and test our applications that we built with large language models and LangChain. So I think that also gives also the audience a good idea of, in a more visual way, of okay, we write some code, we run some things, and now we have an output. But what actually happened in between? Because there's a lot of things going on when you run these applications. So data is processed, you send it to some API where the model is, and then you get information back. And LangChain of LangSmith is a new framework to give us a behind-the-scenes look into all of that. So I think that will be the starting point for today. So I think we're just gonna go into it.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right.
This LangSmith monitoring tool sounds great because you can visualize the whole process.
Yeah.
If you stay in the prompt, let's say in the terminal, it will be harder to watch the steps go by.
Yeah.
I think this will be really nice also for the audience that can help them understand better the process.
Definitely.
Also for the prompting, I saw that Microsoft has some kind of tool for Zoom, I think, that will do the transcription of the video, and then we'll try to make some actions, calling actions based on what the topic was. I think we can try to do some smart prompting, like you said,
Yeah.
and try to do, let's say, like a to-do list, or something with replies, or depends on the topic of the meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So at the core of what we will be using today will be a tool also from OpenAI, which is called Whisper, which I show here on the screen right now. But Whisper is a transcription tool. So you can take video or an MP3 with just audio. And what Whisper can do is it can help you to transcribe that. So it turns the content into written text.
Okay.
So we have to fill transcription, and it works pretty well for a lot of languages. If I go to the GitHub page over here, so we won't get into the specifics, the architecture of how all of this works. We're just going to show you the outputs. But here you have some error rates on all the languages that it supports right now, and this is completely available for free. So this again to me is also pretty amazing. So there are a lot of languages supported today. We'll focus on English, but you mentioned, Alex, you also tested internally with
Yes.
the Romanian language, and it also works well on that, right? If you use the larger model.
We used Whisper on premise. We downloaded the model. It's available on their website.
Yeah.
We tested the large model. For Romanian, it works pretty well.
Yeah.
Also, it's free, as you said.
Yeah.
The smaller one, the smallest one, actually, it's much faster. It's around 8 times faster than the largest one. But the results in Romanian are not that good.
Yeah.
So basically, if you want to make something at a good quality in Romanian, you should use the large model.
Yeah.
And I didn't saw this graphic, but now it looks like Romanian is pretty okay for the error rate.
Let's see. Well, did you spot it already?
Yeah,
Where is it in the list?
40 something, 14 near Korean, Danish or Bulgarian.
Ah, yeah. I see. So yeah, it's right around the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, if in the middle has these great results, I think that the top languages there are really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It will be so small.
Yeah. And now, so here on the GitHub page that we're looking at over here, you can also see like how you can get started. With it. So I'm just gonna follow the example over here, and maybe in between we'll also be using ChatGPT to help us write some code, maybe to make us more streamlined. Because really in my day-to-day work, I always have a ChatGPT tab open when I'm coding.
Me too.
For just like quick reference, or I have some ideas, and I'm just like, hey, help me write this, and then I just hit enter, and then I go and grab some coffee, and then I get back, and then
the whole program is there.
And then we have a nice little function that we can use. So I will also show how we can make our code nicer, basically. So I'm just going to start by writing out some code over here. And so I'm within VS Code right now. We're going to run some Python. And
do you have Copilot? Do you use Copilot?
Yeah, I have Copilot enabled here as well.
Okay.
So we maybe see that kicking in at some points as well, and I will show you what that will do. So that is also quite interesting. So what I'm going to do right now, let me actually create some space on the screen. We're going to create a simple Python script, and even if you don't understand coding at all, I will just walk you through it. Most of the Python code that we will be using is just like plain English if you read it out loud, and I can show you what we're doing. So we'll start by importing the library. So OpenAI made Whisper available in Python, and we can run a simple import statement, and now we have the functionality of Whisper at our hands.
I think it's important to say that Whisper comes also in API. In API model, you don't have to download it or use any resources if you don't have on your computer.
No.
You will only, with a few lines of code, you can send the video to them and they will return the transcription.
Exactly. Yeah, can do that as well. And now we can load a model, and let's see. So here we had an overview of all the models that are in there. So we basically have tiny to large, and as you pick larger models, the quality gets better, but also the processing time is going to rises. It's going to we're going to start off with just the base one, and we're going to load that model. So we'll load it in. And now I have, for this example, I have downloaded a YouTube video of mine. I tried to take pretty short one. So this is just to start with. So it will be a meeting summary tool, but you can basically throw like any video or recording into it. And then maybe later we can switch to an actual meeting that we can find somewhere online maybe and see if it works on that. But first we're going to try it out with just a video of mine. Okay. So the video is already now locally on my laptop. So for example, if any of you are watching, you can think of this as maybe you use Microsoft Teams or Zooms, and you can just record the meeting, and then afterwards you have the video file or the MP3 file. That is basically the starting point right now, and I also
Microsoft
have that.
Zoom saves that locally also.
Yeah. With Zoom, you have the option to do that. You can either do cloud recording, I believe, or locally. But even if it's on the cloud, you can always download it. Yeah. All right, so then we have the model, and let's see what we're then going to do is we're going to link to that path, meaning just we're going to say like, hey, this is the file that we want to use. So I downloaded it as an MP3. And then the next thing, let's see what we're going to do. Go back to the documentation. We can just follow the steps, and we can load the audio. So let's see. Was over here, so we have this one, and now with all of these variables right here, we can create a transcription. And here you can see again Python, pretty straightforward. We now have a model and we say transcribe, and we just link it to the path that we've just stored. So we can run this, and now depending, so we set the model to base, but this still will take some time to process, so it should take a couple of minutes, so we can continue with the later part of the script and just wait for this to finish. So ideally this would be something you put maybe on a server or an application, so that when you as the user just clicks on transcribe, it just runs off in the background and you can continue with whatever you're doing. And we are working also on a tool that will do this for our customers. Mm-hmm. We want to make some this model available, so you can upload your video. Okay. And we will return to you in the background, of course, the transcription. Mm-hmm. And start from there. We'll try to make a set of tools that will help you create automated posts, or in general, short videos for social media. Yeah. That would be really cool. Yeah. This is the first step to get the transcription. Yeah. That's really cool. And we get so it's already finished. That is maybe something we can even look into in this session, because with Python, with what you're seeing right now, we can also like cut up videos. So we take a video and we can cut it. So maybe if you have a long meeting, you can maybe also like split it up into different chunks and send specific pieces of the meeting that are really important. Just export that as a little clip to send to, I don't know, either the manager or some other key stakeholders. Actually, last year I had a meeting. Yeah. It took like 4 hours. Okay. It was a technical meeting. Yeah. At some point, I had some details in that meeting that I didn't wrote them in that moment. Mm-hmm. I didn't receive a memento after. Yeah. So
in the next days, I stayed around 3 days to find that part, and in the video.
Oh, yeah.
If we would have had this technology there, it will awesome moment.
Yeah, that would have saved you a lot of time. Yeah. All right, so now we went through transcribing the MP3, and what I can now do, let me actually show you. We can now see the transcription over here, and I'm going to do a quick little GPT help over here, because now you can see we have the whole transcription on one line. It's kind of like hard to actually read through it, because we have to scroll. And I know that there is a function within Python that you can use to like print it nice, that you can read it through, but I don't know the exact syntax. So this happens a lot when you're creating applications. I know I can do this, but I don't know specifically. So before GPT, you would go to Google and say like, okay, how do I do this? But right now, what I can just do, I say, for example, I can store this as the result. So this is my result. We get the text. So that is the whole transcription of this video, where I explain basically what I'm doing right now, how I code within this program. And then I go to GPT, and I can ask something like how to print text. I think it's called wrapped. Text wrapped in Python with like 50 line length, something like that.
In Python, you also have extensions like stanza that will break your sentences, and they will have the stanza break sentences, so you can use them separated.
Okay.
It's very important in some scripts, also for our product, let's say, in the future, that you know how to cut the sentence and where to cut it.
Yeah.
ChatGPT or Claude will help you identify the spots, but you need to make sure that that sentence has it's at the end of the sentence and not break it.
Exactly. Yeah. So not in a word or in a character, but you want the dot, so it ends, and then that would be a good point to split.
Also, it's very interesting that not all the sentences are finished with a dot or an exclamation mark or a question mark.
True.
And that part is really hard. And also, artificial intelligence shines here. There are models trying to do that. Also at Termene, we did something for that in Romanian. The model will be available soon. Stefan is working on it. And we will really use that for this kind of product.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah. And look, this is the beauty about using GPT. So I just created a quick little prompt. We continued the conversation, and now we have the code working over here. Now we can just see, okay, what it is that we have to do. So I remember that it was something with text wrap, and now here you can see with the beauty of Python, we can just import that as a library, and then we have that as a function, and then it says, okay, now we have the long text, and what we can now do, let's say we have the result, we put that in here, and then run that, and then print. Look, so now you can see that we can actually have a look at the transcription and can read through it. So it starts off with now talking about Visual Studio Code, what it can do. All right, so looking good. So now we have our transcription. Now of the video, but think of this could be of a meeting, any kind of content. Now we have to turn this into something actionable, some summaries that we can do something with. And now, previously, let me actually go back to the document and go to this image over here. So this is an image we talked about in the first session and also yesterday about how you work with your own data in these large language models, and that we're currently running into the limits of the API and how much information we can send to it. So we can already see it's increasing. GPT increased to 16K. Claude has 100K tokens.
70K.
75K. Okay.
They limited in the second version. It's smaller, but it's faster and much better.
Okay. So we're seeing these models like increasing in how much data you can send to it. But right now, if you would like to like summarize, and your meeting is, for example, like 4 hours long, whatever. It's too big to just send to the AI and say like create a summary. What you would then have to do is you would have to split up the meeting, the whole conversation, and try to summarize the individual parts. And now, of course, there are some challenges in here because then again you run into the issue. So where do you split up? Because maybe if you create a cut over here, but that was in the middle of a conversation, and now the AI has the beginning and the end, but it has them like separately.
Yeah.
And now it cannot really make sense of this, and it cannot really make sense of this, because you need both of the sides. So that is something you have to play with and get clever with. But again, LangChain already did some good work to try and make this whole process of going iteratively through your text and splitting it up and then creating a summary. They already worked on that. So let me actually go to LangChain and go into the summarization. So let's see, they have, so this is kind of like an overview. You can have all kinds of data sources. They have the application that we're building right now.
Yep.
And then you can create a summary. And then here they go into the technical detail of how that works, but they also have a quick start. So again, I'm just going to follow everything that's going on over here. So let me actually go through this, see what they're doing. Oh, here you can see that the two options that they're giving you, where with Claude 2 you get a lot more tokens. And let's see. Okay. Just gonna, this is the installation. We already have that. So we're going to
In the programmatic way.
Yeah.
You will have an extension for Python, a plugin.
Yeah.
You can import it, and it will compute the number of tokens that the sentence will have. So you can basically split the text in the number of tokens that you want. But it's much harder than this way, where you only run one command, and it help you and make you this whole document.
Yeah, exactly. So that is again like the beauty of LangChain, of what it did behind the scenes. So I'm not sure if they by using the model, by selecting the model, we can look into that. They maybe already know, okay, this model can use this amount of tokens, so that is the amount of tokens that we can push to the API. I think that they're doing that. They probably have thought about that. So right now, they're using also a document loader where they load something from the internet, but we already have our own data, so we only need the chat model and the summarized chain. So I'm going to import those libraries over here. So let's run that. And now we can see now we have that functionality. So let me actually, so this is the transcribe the audio, and now we have the text, and now we'll get into summarize the text. Oh, here you can see also what GitHub Copilot is doing. Yeah. So you can really see if I, for example, so now it's with a comment, but it's suggesting, hey, do you now want to summarize the text? So it already knows that I want to do that based probably on the file name. So it's called summary app and refers to transcription. And then it says like, hey, do you want to summarize it right now? So it already kind of like helps you with that.
You gain very much productivity. The productivity rises a lot if you know what you are doing. If you name your variables right, Copilot shines. Mm-hmm. Actually, when you name the file, I think that, like also you said, it will take the name and will try to do to predict the next words.
Kind of like the context of the code that you wanna run. Yeah. All right, so let's see. So we're first going to. So we have the documents, and then we have the chain. All right, okay. And then what we probably have to do here, let's see. We're going to use the GPT 3.5 Turbo, 16K one. So that will be that would be the large language model that we will be using in this context. And then here is the example from LangChain where we are going to run the load summarize chain, and you have different kind of ways that you can go about this. So right now it says that stuff, and I believe that is just like just sticking everything together. But you can also later refine it, which we could look into. So you can really go step by step. First, just split it up, summarize, and then put everything together, and then later try and refine it to get a little bit more context and see if the individual blocks that you've summarized, if they make sense.
Okay.
I believe that's what it's about. And now I see, let's see. Now one thing that we still have to do is, where was I? The summarization, okay. So since we're now working with LangChain, we have to put in documents and not just the transcript, the raw transcript that we downloaded. So LangChain expects a different kind of like variable that we put in, different kind of like shape.
Input.
So that is another step that we have to do. And now I would have to kind of look into that, but that is, we have to import from LangChain. Let's see, quickly look up where the document class is. Documents. All right. So here we have the class document. So that is, Can we just import? Let's see, is that the one? Schema, yeah, okay. And then that's takes page context, so then docs is okay. So now we have turned the whole transcript that we had, so all of this text, and we put it into the format that LangChain can now work with. So now we can just go back to following the tutorial that, let me clear this up. We can go back to this, and then we can say chain.run docs. Then we have option 1 over here. Let's first try and do this. So this is, this should be the summary. Okay, let's see. Chain is not defined. Oh, we should run this first. Have the docs. Let's see. Is it maybe a list? Yeah.
Live coding.
Live coding. We're going to run into some bugs. Yeah. Okay. But let's see. Now we have the summary. All right. And now let's actually take the wrap text again. Take the summary and then print this one more time. There we go. This video discusses tips and tricks for optimizing the use of Visual Studio Code as an IDE for data science. Well, that's basically what the video is about. And we now took, a 7-minute video, not so long, but we turned it into a quick little summary using, how much lines of code is this? About 30 or something like that, but if we optimize it, which we will do with GPT in a bit. So now I'm just like thinking out loud, putting everything together, and then in a bit I can just give this to GPT and say like, make this nice.
Yeah, actually we do the same thing at Termene.
Yeah.
We make the program, we test it, and afterwards we go to GPT and say, rewrite our program using the solid principles, KISS principles, all kind of principles. And it makes us make our code looks very good, but actually it also makes it faster or using less resources.
Yeah.
And it's GPT is top for that.
Yeah.
For rewriting.
It's so good for rewriting, and also for it's also for performance, but also in terms of like understanding the code. So it can put everything into a nice little class with descriptions and comments. And if you're writing code, you should really be commenting everything, like, because if you're working with a team and you think, this is pretty clever, I write this, everyone will understand this, right? No, they will not. If you look at someone else's code, you're like, okay, what's going on over here? So you really have to make sure that you document everything. But this is, of course, this is work. This is time that you not spent on actually improving the code or adding functionality. And also GPT is so good for that.
Yeah, very good at documented code.
Yeah.
Also, you can partially explain. You can select smaller pieces from that code, even if they are not commented, or GPT didn't wrote something about it, and you can ask it how this works, what are the input parameters, where does that come from. So you don't need to understand all the functionality, just that line or that function that you will need help with.
Yeah, exactly. So now one thing that I just thought of, so now we have the text here in the code editor, of course, but if you want to turn this into an application, we have to do something, of course, with this. So let's see if we can export it. So let's see, we have the summary, and now I'm just gonna go back to GPT, and I'm just going to say I have a text variable summary, and I want to export this to a PDF. Can you do this with Python? Just thinking out loud. It's probably possible, I'm not sure. So to create a PDF, let's see if we can do that. So it would be really easy if we do like a TXT file, but it is not really nice to send to someone. If you can just send a meeting summary via email, get the nice PDF, hey, here's what we talked about, I think that would be cool. So here you can see GPT suggesting we need report lab. So let's actually see what this will do.
And GPT wrote the code for us.
Yeah.
No Stack Overflow, no.
So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to quickly install this new library. So again, the beauty of Python, smart people have already put in a lot of work to make this available. So quick installation, we now have the report lab, and then let's see. I'm going to create another section and say like, let's see. This would be the export, and then, okay, so we need some new imports. Let's get into this. Letter and canvas. So I've never worked with this library. I have no idea what's going on. So we have the summary, and then we have the wrapped summary. So it again takes the 50 into consideration, but let's actually skip.
I think it has the context above with the 50.
Yeah. Let's actually try and skip that. So wrapped summary. So this just would be this would be the summary. Okay. So then from here, it says summary.pdf. Okay. So let's see what this will do. Canvas not defined. Okay. We have to import this. Go over here. Okay. Let's see. We have a file. Okay, so we have a PDF, but here you can see it cut off because we do have to use the wrap text. So GPT was right in this case. So I thought maybe it copied this because we asked it before, but we need the wrapped summary. So here we can then actually let's see, we have summary. We can do that over here. So 50, let's see, I think we can probably do a bit more on a PDF. Let's try it one more time. Have to put this in. Okay. Okay. 50 seems about
Yeah.
right.
Working with PDFs and documents in general, DocX,
Yeah.
XLS, are always problem with them.
Yeah. I think this is the sweet spot, something like this. Okay, so now we have an actual PDF that we could potentially send to someone, but let's see if we can make this a little nicer and say like, can you also add a title and some metadata like date and meeting participants. Just thinking out loud here. Just thinking out how can we create a nice little report. Tweak it a little bit. So let's see what it's going to suggest over here. So now we can put in some metadata. We have the date.
We have the participants.
Yeah, the participants.
Generative.
Yeah. Alice, Bob, and Charlie. Okay, looking good. Let's see. Do we actually with the text wrap?
In the first one, did the Helvetica font was there, or he made it nicer now?
There was no font, no mentioning of a font in here, right? So maybe that's just the default one.
Yeah.
So let's see. Now we have the wrap text, and now I'm just gonna copy paste everything. Let's see, from here, and then just replace this. Is that correct? Need the wrap summary. Over here. We don't need this. Wrap text. Okay, let's see, meeting summary. Oh, import again. I always find it funny, so the only errors that I get is just from the human within this loop that is forgetting to import certain stuff, like, you know, because it's almost always right, and then when you run into this, oh yeah, I have to import it, yeah. Okay, let's see, what do we get? So, boom, instant, let's see, go back to, wow.
It looks good.
This is looking good, right?
5 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that.
Okay, this is really cool actually. So this is also the first time for me actually creating PDFs like this, and this is pretty cool. So it even does like the indentation, right? This is beautiful, right? So participants and then to the next line. So how does it actually? So if you have to figure this out, so it loops like through the participants, and it like really defines the height, and I have no idea.
The X and the Y?
Yeah. So if you would have to do this yourself, then it would probably tweaking a lot. Like
I did something like that.
Yeah, do I need 5? Do I need 10? Whatever. Now it's just like, it just looks very well formatted. And I think this right now is a good starting point for us to maybe think about, okay, are there any additional processing steps that we can maybe add to the summary to make it a little better, because now it's a very brief summary. And let's see, what we can maybe do is first take all of this code and maybe say go to GPT, put all of this into nice functions. Let's see, so now everything that we've created as like a draft, I'm just going to say like, hey, we're going to, refactor is what you would call it in programming language, which just basically means we're going to make things nice.
We have a term, let's say, we always want to do refactor, but we never do. So with this one, really, really easy.
And now we can just see here, we can just have a conversation, drink something, while GPT is just making everything look better.
in the end we should test the result because he sometimes hallucinates. So the functions right there would not be 100% of the time accurate.
True. Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. So here you can see we have the whole code over here, and we can even just let's see. So we have the summaries.
Try a new
file. So we say summaries refactored by, create a completely new file. Put all of this in here. So let's see what we have. So now for every step of the process, we have a nice little function, as you can see here. So nice blocks of code that each have a specific objective. Now let's run all of this. To import it, and then okay. Let's see. So last time it was pretty quick to do the transcription for this 7-minute video.
It took something like 2 minutes.
No, I think it was
Even
quicker.
faster?
Yeah, I think it was faster, maybe like 1 minute or something like that.
Based on the title of the video, can we try to identify, let's say, a category, and where we have lists like 17 VS codes to try to extract the main ideas, the 17 ideas?
We can definitely do that. So that would maybe be a nice next step. So we have the whole transcript, and now first we create a summary, but we can also maybe create a little function where we extract, like you said, like the key information. So maybe we can first. Okay, here you can see. Now we're running into one issue, and that is because I know what this is. Yeah. Okay. Because now we're doing it. This is an error I made again. It should be in a list. It expects a list, and I changed that here, and then later at the first point. So that was actually me again messing it up. So let's see. Do we have? Yeah, we have the transcription over here, and then we can do the summary. And then I should run this again. Summarize. Again, me forgetting to update this. Okay, and that should run. Print it, we exported it. Let's see, let's go to the summary PDF again. And
we had several requests if we can make this code available for our viewers.
Okay.
So they can test, obviously, with their API keys and their models.
Yeah, sure. We can do that.
Excellent.
We can definitely do that. So we're already working towards making this look nice and pretty. So this is almost something that I would be comfortable sharing. Okay. So we're getting there, but let's do that. So what we can now maybe do, let's see, is we can maybe extract some additional information from the transcript.
Okay.
To try and add some more metadata even. So now we have the title is meeting summary, but we can probably get a little more clever on that. And let's see. So for that we have the summary. We have to like split it up. Let's see. How can we do? So we can first based on the title. So we're on the transcript come up with the title. So we have the summary.
Use GPT-4, right?
Yeah.
Or 3.5.
Yeah.
And it will suggest us a title.
Yeah. So we can over here create like another function. This is like def create title, and we're going to put in the summary over here. And then, let's see, I'm just gonna go back to something that we've worked on already. So the introduction, quick start. Take this. Summaries refactored. Quickly grabbing some. Yeah.
You can always use your passcode and copy paste it, and you can adjust very simple, only changing the prompt.
Yeah.
And you can use that the results and the code to generate something else.
Exactly. So that's what I'm doing right now. So taking a little piece that we already created, go over here. And then from the quick start, we need just, what is it? The variables over here, go back. Summary app refactored. Import that, and then we should be good to go. And then here you can see we now have just put in the summary, and here the summary, and now we're just going to prompt engineer this in such a way where we say create a title for this summary, and then we put in the actual summary, and then we say title is. Okay, here you can see how code interpreter, Copilot
helps you.
Is helping you. So I just type title and the equals sign, and now it suggests, do you want chain.run summary in here, which is exactly what I want. And I can just press tab and boom, now it's in here. And then we will just return this title from this function. So now we've created a function that can help us to create a title. So let's see. So now we have the participants and the title, and now instead of like meeting summary, we're going to say create title, and we can just put in.
We have a joke with Copilot.
Yeah.
We speak in the office. What do you want to do? What do we want to do?
Yeah.
We don't even start to write code, and it already pops up with suggestions.
Yeah.
Basically, on what we talk about it, but not wrote it yet.
Oh, so you think it's listening?
Yeah. It's a joke, obviously.
Yeah. But the thing is, sometimes it can get really scary. I've had some moments as well where I was like, how do you know that this is what I want to do? You mean like when even for example, working on a project, even if you're like halfway through it and then, okay, now I want to completely add a new feature to this code. And I thought, I'm being creative here. This is what I want to do. But then code interpreter, like all of Copilot, I keep switching up those words, Copilot, already suggests, hey, is this what you want to do? And then maybe I was not so creative at all. This is just like the logical next step within the project.
For sure, there were people before you that did that.
Yeah.
For us, it was the same. We are trying to build something, or we are doing, let's say, a small function, and afterwards, a full page of codes appears.
Yeah.
We look into it. It's exactly the thing that we want to build.
Okay.
So it's sometimes scary.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. So now we have a title. So what's coming up with? Let's see. Maximizing the data science potential of Visual Studio Code. Okay, so looking good. So it does have some enters, some white space probably, but let's see what it looks like if we now export that and then go back to the summary. Okay, now here you can see we kind of have to format this title.
Well, it's nice that he suggested the other title than the one you put in the video.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. This is my title that I that I get from OpenAI, can you remove the -n cars and text wrap it to 50?
Actually, the font size is bigger here, so I think you will need to put a smaller
good point.
input size.
We can
for the
tweak.
line.
We can tweak that. So I'm also not sure why it's coming up with the -n of the \n's in there, but here it suggests that hey, if we have this title, we can
remove
actually
the ends with the breaks and
We
then
can-
strip it.
we can actually put it into the function over here and say like, hey, we have what was happening? We have the title. We can get rid of that, and then let's put it at. Let's try make it 50. See if that works. Wrap title. Okay, now we're going to create a new title. This
I-
could be something different than
If we are using a monospaced font, we can actually compute the size of each character
Mm-hmm.
and to know exactly how many characters can we put on a line.
So we can all do it programmatically. Yeah, I see. Let's actually change no, that should be at the LLM. Let's set the temperature a little lower so we get similar results. Do this one more time. Let's see, what do we have? Not sure why it puts that character in there.
Do you have a limit, a character limit in the title generation?
Don't think so. Is it like max?
That /n should render as the next line.
Yeah, should
but
be next.
I don't think that in PDF works that way. PDF.
No. Let's see, because now we'll probably run into, so we're almost there, max, and then let's see, why is it? Let's just ask GPT to help us. The \n also appears mid-line. Can you help remove that as well?
The same process.
Yeah. Let's see, why is it doing that? We need title, replace. Text wrap. Is it let's see, maybe it's because of the 50 that we're using over here. Could that be the case, that since we're wrapping the text that it's pushing?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So
we are wrapping it twice. First time here.
Yeah. Let's see, if we I believe is if we're doing it like this and then create the title. Yeah, I see. So this is a problem with probably the title of the PDF generation, where with the text we can, let's see, split. Okay. So this, so here on while creating the text, the summary, it actually puts something in here to say like, hey, split on the new line and then go to.
Yeah. And for the title, we didn't run this.
Yeah, exactly. So we should say, go to this function, and then say, update the title part to also split on -n. So this is one of the issues that you sometimes run into when you just blindly copy the code and you actually have no idea what was going on. So for the text it was already doing it, and now for the title we need it as well. But here you can see, so now probably it will, so here now it suggests, hey, for the title, this is what you should do.
The whole process is very easy because you go in here, you say what you want to do, what you want to happen, and it will make it for you.
Yeah.
You don't know, you don't need to find out lines to stack, again, Stack Overflow, find out how to do it.
Exactly. So now we can just update this, and then we don't even need it in here anymore. So we can just keep this, the title generation as is.
And the breakup, it's just another function.
Yeah, and the breakup is just in the export to PDF, which is actually a nicer way of doing it, I would say. And split it up at 50 seemed about right. Let's just see. Store this. Now we create title again. So title is maximizing Visual Studio Code for data science projects. And then just export it. Okay, and then the strip that we had was good. Let's see. Add one more over here.
It's important to say that these 3 sessions are not only for the entrepreneurs, but mainly for their developers, let's say, for their chief AI officer that we're trying to promote here. So the technical part of these sessions, I think it's a really good start for them to start learning tools, to use how to use them, how to control them, and how to improve their code with it.
Okay, let's see. So we now have the PDF with a nice title. We have some metadata, and the only thing that I see is that it shifted kind of the other text a little lower. So let's quickly check if we can see what's going on over there. So is there something that's changed? So if the summary, Y summary, title minus. So maybe this is now something we have to adjust. Let's just try and put this to 100. See what happens. This is a little bit of tweaking. Yeah, okay, so that's the parameter, but we need, let's say 150.
Because the PDF acts like a canvas, you always need to control the height and the X and the Y.
We now added the title, so that shifted everything a little bit. So I think, wow, okay.
Great.
We have a report. Okay, let's see. Where shall we go from here? Because there are a few things we can still get into. We can try maybe add some more like functionality, but we can also go into the Langsmith side of things. Maybe look at that.
Yeah.
But tell me where you want to go.
Let's go to Langsmith.
Okay. Yeah.
To watch the whole process visually.
Got it. Because I think now people can understand, like, okay, this is how it works. And now, of course, we can continue with this endlessly try and add more functionality. But here we basically, I think, like now in like one hour, of course, explaining, experimenting, we created a simple application that can take any source of content, whether it's a recorded meeting, a YouTube video, whatever, MP3, MP4 file, and just run it, and we have a report, a PDF that we can send to someone.
Exactly.
I think that's pretty amazing. And that also comes back to the learning curve, so I've been doing this for a while already, so for me it's quite effortless. But if you look at, we have less than 100 lines of code. So if someone completely new were to start with this and try to understand what's going on over here, it's very doable. You should start, of course, with understanding Python, but then it's not like that you have to understand lines and lines of code. It's very small and convenient building blocks that you understand. And that's why I explained, like, really 3 months, I believe, could get someone up and running to understand really what's going on here and make changes.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
The learning curve is smaller because you don't need to understand the layer underneath.
Exactly.
You only need to know the above functions, the general way to do things, how to call an API, how to check for a tutorial. It's basically some copy-paste from their original documentation, which is really good.
Yeah.
And it always works.
Yeah.
So you don't need that kind of level of experience.
Yeah. True. Okay, so let's go to the next step, which is, like I've said, is Langsmith. So this is let me actually first announcing Langsmith. Show you kind of a visual representation of what they're trying to do with Langsmith. So this is from the makers of LangChain, and this is a platform to, like they say, debug, test, evaluate, and monitoring your large language model applications. So you can kind of already see a visual image over here of everything that's going on in the background when you run this. So right now, when I'm in my code editor and I, for example, create that title, or when I summarize the whole transcript, you don't really know what's going on. So it runs and you have the result. But of course, when you are using applications that your company relies on, you want to make sure and you really want to understand what's going on, especially once you start to scale up, start to use this to interact with customers, and sometimes they will introduce hallucinations, errors, and you want to track, of course, okay, what went wrong? What is it that we have to? What is it that we have to do? And this was really a problem that when LangChain first came out. So it's very good to build prototypes, but what's the next step to put this really into production? So they made this convenient framework, and it's also quite new to me. It's currently in closed beta, but I have access already. And so here we are on smith.langchain.com, and here we have some our projects. So let's actually go and try and create a new project, and let's call this summary test. That is our new project. Let's submit this, and then here you will see what you have to do basically to set it up. So you need LangChain. We already have that, and now it's just very easy. We have to configure some environment variables, and then we can start to run it. So let me
copy paste,
and I'm going to take this from, let's see, because I'm going to load them using the environment variables, and take this, which is basically the same that they were doing, and we're going to, at the top of our script, we're going to say, hey, we're going to make a connection with the platform. So what you were just seeing over here, we're now connecting our code to that. So let's import.
So
this.
Our information will get sent to the interface from the...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is how we now do it. And now instead of default, we're going to do summary. Summary test. So that is the project that we just created. And we want to trace. Let's see. Let's get this. And now the transcription we already have. Let's see, transcription. So the transcription is done via Whisper. So we don't track that, but really when we start to interact with the large language model, with LangChain, that is where we can start tracking. So first, what we can now do is we have the original summary again, so the whole transcript, and we're going to run this. So we're going to do summarize text. And now this is, so here you can see on the coding part, we did not see much. We now have, all of a sudden, we have a summary. We can print it. But okay, so what happened? And now, if I'm correct, we can go back to this and go to summary. Let's see, to the projects. Let's see. look, and there we go. Now we can see that something is logged. And top level, we can already see a lot of information. So we have, what did we run? So it was a chain, staff documents chain. We have some metadata, the output, start time, and also the time it took to process, and also how much tokens it took. So this is also very nice because when you're interacting with these APIs, you get charged per token used, or basically per thousand tokens. So this also for a company gives a good behind the scenes of if you're scaling multiple applications, multiple change, multiple tools, where are the tokens going?
Yeah.
And can we maybe be smarter about this to, in the long run, reduce costs? So let's actually...
Also, you can see the latency.
Yeah.
So that's very nice to watch for performance.
Yeah.
Maybe you need faster responses.
Yeah.
And this is not the proper solution. You can try an alternative or something.
Yeah, definitely.
As you said, with your scenario that you tested and you needed fast responses in like a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
ChatGPT or some tools that are not always the fastest.
True.
And you can use smaller models or on-prem models.
Yeah.
So you can replace it.
Yeah. So if I click on it, we can now actually see what it did behind the scenes. So you can here see that we had the input document, which is the whole transcript, everything that I said in the video. And now here you can see the output. So output text, the summary of the text is that visual. So here's the summary. Okay, so that's already very good. So we now have an actual record of this. So this can already, of course, be used for debugging. So we can actually check, okay, does this make sense? Is this a good summary of the actual video? Let me actually, so this is also the first time that I'm really going through this in depth. So we can even share some feedback here internally. So if you're working with a team, maybe you can say like, hey, this is not correct, or we should look into this, etc. And we have the metadata. Also interesting, so you can see I run this on my MacBook with Python, etc.
Yeah,
even the library in the
your
version.
Environment, so you can replicate the conditions.
Exactly. Okay, and now where it gets a little bit more interesting, I think, is if we look into the different chains. So let's see. Okay, so text 2. Yeah. So it probably split up the, I see. So since we're running into these token limits for this, I believe since we're using the GPT 16K already, 16K is quite a lot of text that we can already put in there, but I think it split it up into 2 blocks still to make sense of it. So it created 2 initial summaries first and then combined them. So we can really see here in the tree on the left side how that worked. So top level we started with just that, and then we have, let's see, so this, we have the text, and then another summary, and then let's see. And here you can see the prompt engineering again from LangChain. So I did not include this, but this is because we're using the summarization method from LangChain. It then says, write a concise summary of the following text.
It automatically writes the prompt.
Yeah, it automatically writes the prompt. And then you can see, so then you have the, here you can see concise summary. And this is
written in caps?
Yeah, written in caps. And then you get the actual summary. So here, how you can see how that is built up. And in LangChain, you can chain multiple steps together. So you could also create or use an agent that uses really like maybe even 10 steps. So first get some ideas, then get step-by-step process, then do step 1, step 2, step 3, etc. Every time a new prompt to the API. And then here in Langsmith, you could really see, okay, this is the flow that it went through. These are all this was all the time that it took to complete this run.
For every step and how many retries he did.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's also really cool, so you can rate it. That is nice. But you also, let's see, you also have the ability, so this one, to open it in the playground. And this is also really cool. So here you can see this was the original prompt that was sent to the API. So this was generated, and then this is the output. But they also have the ability here to play with this, meaning that to debug. So okay, so right now there's a lot of information over here, but let's say this is not the result that you want, and you want, for example, you want to try a different model. So here you can see we can select all kinds of models. So you can even go to the GPT-4 32K, for example, and let's take this version. You can play around with the temperature and the length, and then you can submit it again. Let's see. So this might be something that I still have to input. I still have to, like I said, this is new. This is also the first time I'm experimenting with it. I have to put in my open API key in here. But then what you could do is you could test with different models and see if that works better, if it's faster.
Exactly. Faster, if it's better.
Better, and you can even change the prompt. So if write a concise summary of the following, if that is not correct, so you can say of the following meeting and make sure to list action items, something like this. This will completely change the output because now it has a different set of instructions. And you could see, okay, what is then the result of that? And
it's interesting if you can go back to your program with this prompt, with these instructions to adjust it so you can obtain the same results like in the simulated browser environment.
Yeah. So basically every time someone interacts with your application, there is a log, a track of it, and you can validate it. And if it's not correct, you can open the editor over here, the playground, experiment with it. Okay, this is what we need to do. We need this model, and we have to change the prompt slightly, so it now produces the outcome that that we want.
It's much easier than to write code or and
exactly.
Anyone in your team, the testing team.
Yeah.
If the first part can be done by a developer, the second part here can be done by a test guy.
Yeah. For example, So you could have really, if your organization is large, you're scaling with these applications, you could have a dedicated team, like a QA, a quality assurance type of role team that just is responsible for tracking all of this.
I guess that the feedback option there is for something like that.
Yeah, probably. So let's see, you can rate. So you say correct, yes, no. Let me actually see what else we got here. So this is the summary test. Here we have the runs. What's this? We can search. Success, tokens, feedback. There's no feedback recorded. I'm not sure how you can record feedback, but yeah. Okay, so I think that is a good illustration of Langsmith and what it can do and how important it is once your company actually starts to rely on working with these models. And also, again, how we were able to pretty quickly create a piece of a script that can take an input to somewhere on your laptop right now, get all of the text and transcribe it and then turn it into a PDF document, which again I think is quite amazing that we managed to make that work. So Alex, I think we can try to add some more functionality, but I also know that you still have some questions. So let me know where you want to go.
I think that if we make this available for our viewers, they can play with it and start from there and try to make their own action items or to expand it. I guess that we can try to add one more feature, let's say 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Something interesting.
What we maybe can do is, so right now I'm using a video of myself that I downloaded, but maybe what we can do is we can add, for example, the web data loader, where people can just put in a URL.
Okay.
And then the script will work. So they don't have to download the video or select the video. You can also do that, but I can add like one or two more functions, and then we can take any website, get all the content, and then create a summary of the website.
Oh, nice.
Yeah? Yeah. Let's try and do that. So then I'm going to go back to LangChain summary. because I think that was the original example that they were giving. So
if GPT-4 has this plugin with scraping, I think there are a few plugins that will do that for you. You cannot take that plugin and use it in your API, but with this method from LangChain and what you are developing right now in a few minutes, you can use this tool to make this part of scraping and summarization. So you can include this in your flow, in your applications.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's first quickly check how this works. So, okay, what website should we take? Any idea? Website?
Termene.ro.
All right. Then of course, this is going to be interesting because of course we have the different language over here. But it should be able to make sense of this because we're not using the transcription right now. This is just getting the text from the website.
Yeah.
So let's just load this and then say the documents. Okay. So now,
if we would have used Whisper with the small database, the small model, the results for Romanian language maybe there weren't so good. That wouldn't be so good. Yeah. But for the part with the ChatGPT, I think it will work really good.
Yeah. Let's actually see what we can also do. Open AI models. We can go to really take the large one and GPT-4. So that's a little bit more powerful. Swap that out. So we take this, we stuff it. Let's see, summary.
From tomorrow, we'll come back to prompts and tools, and we'll skip the technical part, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So for all of you that wanted to watch more non-technical sessions,
switching back to 3.5 Turbo, the API key that I've configured here doesn't have access to 4, so to swap that out. But let's see, now you can, let's store it with the summary. So here it starts, the website, Termene.ro provides information. Okay, it seems to look good. So now we have the summary again.
It was instant?
Almost, yeah. Let's see, let's run this.
It only scraped the first page, I think. Not.
Could be.
Yeah.
So that's something, let's see. So now we have, let's see, so it did not run yet. Where's summary? Yeah, we have to.
Lots of /n.
Yeah. Wait, let's run this. We don't need that. We need title. Unlock business insights with Termene.ro. Comprehensive solutions for companies of all sizes. Okay.
Yeah.
Export to PDF.
Sounds like us.
Yeah. All right. Tell me, is the summary correct?
Yeah, really accurate.
Well, perfect. We now have a functionality to do this for a website as well. So we're already building out the application. We can do websites. We can do transcriptions, video, audio. Okay.
In 1 hour?
In 1 hour?
And a half hour?
Something like that. Yeah. let's see. Let's try to. So if we're going to make this available for everyone, let's try and wrap this up nicely. So we have some functions already. I'm just gonna
Go
do
to
it.
GPT?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it with GPT again and ask like refactor this code with refactor this code so that people can either use a file path to a MP4/MP3 file for transcription.
So basically we're updating it, so you can input files directly into it.
Yeah.
Or web pages, web addresses, URLs.
Yeah. Or input a web URL for summary. Let's just see what it will come up with.
GPT-4 is much better at writing code than GPT 3.5.
True. Yeah.
It understands your requests very, very well.
Is GPT-4, is that still for subscription only on OpenAI?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that is definitely something you can look into. If you want to start coding and you want to use GPT, definitely get the subscription.
We had some algorithm that we want to develop
Yeah.
for computing a juridical risk.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we wanted to do, but the coding part of it was really hard. So in one night at 3 a.m., I started talking to ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
My requests weren't that good written, so it's basically all that it went to my head,
Yeah.
goes into prompting.
Yeah.
And first try, the results weren't that good, but
Mhm.
afterwards I only added 3 examples of
Okay.
what I expect.
Yeah.
The same prompt. Well, he wrote an entire program, I don't know, 300, 400 lines. I ran it. It was exactly the thing that I wanted to do.
Wow.
And the prompt was really, really bad. I mean, I only ideas from there. So there wasn't clarity. I didn't know exactly how to do it. So
Mhm.
basically, and he did it.
Just fake instructions,
yeah.
kind of like, hey, this is
Yeah.
kind of what I want to do.
Yeah, examples
amazing,
are very,
right?
very important.
Yeah.
Zapier integration, if
Mhm.
you used it
Yeah.
with GPT-4,
Yeah.
ask you to, besides the prompt or
Mhm.
the description of the variables,
Mm-hmm.
ask you to write examples.
Mm-hmm.
How should that look?
Yeah.
How the input looks,
Yeah.
so it can be more easily for the model to understand.
Yeah.
And the results
I see.
are crazy, really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really amazing what you can do. So let's see. We have a new function called summarize web content.
He splitted the code
Yeah.
in one for the videos for
Yeah.
Whisper and another one for the URLs.
Yeah, so we have summarize text and summarize web content. So transcribe audio. So let's see, create title, input variables, summary. So I think it changed this also a little. Where's the title? Okay, yeah. So we can now get rid of this. Let's see, then we have the export PDF is the same. Let's just see. Should now be able to run all of this. And then, so we either have the participants, and then here the summary, we export, and then here, yeah, so we have two examples. First here is we can specify a path to file. This is all the same. Then it will export the PDF. And here it will do the same, but then for the web URL, let me actually, can we change the name?
And I think that for the URL we can remove the participants, I guess.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, of course. But then we have to
To rewrite the code.
We have to, exactly, because it will put in. Let's see. Maybe we can just
put an empty.
Exactly. Let's just maybe put in. We'll see. Let's first try if it actually works. So we have that. Okay. Updated just now. Okay, so the code works. Let's just try and put in an empty list. See if it works.
I think we should try this tool on our video or from today to generate the summary of the meeting
that
and
would
the participants.
That would be that we can do that. The thing is with if you take like an hour, 2 hour video even, then it takes some time to process. But maybe we can run that, and then maybe like tomorrow you can give a quick little update on that. So let's see. Okay, yeah. So we can just leave it empty. For now, let's just leave it at this. Otherwise, we have to create separate function, do the styling again. But you can see you can just leave that empty, and then I think one more thing that we can do. So let's see, where's the export? File name. Oh, file name, yeah. So that's already a parameter that we can put in there. So we can also say like file name equals summary web PDF, and then we can just say here. Look, here I'm not doing anything, and
Copilot.
It already understands, like, okay, probably want file name summary mp3.pdf. So this would be not mp3, but let's call this audio. We have audio and we have web.
My team loves Copilot.
Mm-hmm.
Their productivity went up rocket.
Yeah.
I have a colleague that from the beginning used Copilot. He is pretty lazy.
Yeah.
And now he loves it. He only press tab. He names his variables very well.
Mm-hmm.
He only press tab, enter. And afterwards, sometimes it starts to a little fight with Copilot.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I don't want this here. And he deletes, and Copilot writes it back.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens. Yeah. Where you're like, no, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So now let me also actually run this in the background to make sure that is also still working. This will take some more time. But now you can see we have the summary web. It's just, we have a website, we have a date, okay, participants is empty, and boom, we get the summary of a website. And it's called summary web PDF.
Yep.
And then on the other hand, we have, let's see, where is it? We have this.
He's processing the file again.
Yeah.
If you have a business meeting, you have the transcription, then you can start extending this program to do actions. Let's say you can make a prompt for identifying the main topics of the discussion. Also, if there are actions that need to be listed for the teams, something like send a mail to, you have a deadline. Also, I think you can, with the APIs from the calendars, you can sync the actions into your calendar.
Probably, yeah.
Basically, it's all limited to your imagination and to your use cases in general.
Exactly. It's kind of like how far do you want to take it from here? You can connect it with all kinds of APIs, even put it in the task list, the calendar,
Exactly.
Send out automated emails. So right now we're doing a PDF, but you can also set up a quick email server to just send an email after every meeting. So this one also completed, and now we can get back to the audio, and here you can see maximizing Visual Studio Code for data science projects. So we have dynamic titles, we have the date, participants, and we have the summary pretty cool, right?
Yeah, you can import the meeting details from the calendar, let's say, or the video app.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have their emails and names. You can complete the participant list from there. You can also email, as you said, at the end of the meeting, you can email to those addresses the summary
Yeah.
and the task listed for everyone. It depends on the quality of the meeting.
Yeah.
There are some, let's say, programs, AI programs,
Yeah.
which identify the participants and their voices. It will be somehow hard to link them with their email addresses, but you can also, let's say, you can make the action items for those participants.
Yeah. Yeah, so there are multiple ways to go about this. So I know that within Microsoft Azure, they also have a transcription tool, and they can already identify speakers. So if you do not give them any data, they will just label them as speaker 1, 2, 3, etc. So we have the conversation, for example, you would be speaker 1 because you started, and then I would be speaker 2. And then you could, so then there's a distinction. So, that person said that person said that. But you also have the ability to upload a voice profile.
Okay.
And then it starts to automatically recognize, okay, this is
Voices.
Alex talking, this is Dave talking. Then it gets even better. So so that's not possible with Whisper right now, I believe. But with other tools in Azure, you can do that. Then it's not free, so you pay per use again. But that is really interesting. And then based on that, of course, you have all the information, so you know who to send the email to, whose name you should put on certain tasks, and then you can really go from there. So that is a really interesting feature. And let's see, I was thinking about something else.
On the transcription with Whisper, you can also add timestamps, so you can see where the conversation took time, at what times.
Yeah.
It's every phrase.
Yeah.
So you can explore in that direction too.
Yeah.
If you want to do something else with Whisper, not only transcription and only to use the text.
Yeah. True. Totally true.
And it's free.
Yeah. And also something that we talked about this yesterday with Adrian, was that if you are going to start using these tools, that maybe within your meetings, you got to be more mindful about how you phrase certain things. So you can just try, and I think this is just a good practice in general, of course, to keep your meeting structured and really make sure that do we have the action items? Do we actually so what's the objective of the meeting? And I think that of course really helps the AI to think like, okay, so this is really important. This is the objective, and they can even maybe reflect on it, like with the AI, did we manage to complete the objective of this meeting?
Yeah, exactly. You can evaluate the meeting and the goal.
Yeah. And this, of course, it takes some time to get used to, but I think it will improve meetings in general, not just for the AI, but just for people in general, having a little bit more structure, and not just planning a meeting and just start rambling, but actually like, okay, what are we talking about? What are the goals?
What are the goals? Yeah.
What are our next steps? What do we have to do? So could be an interesting way to add some metadata, some context to these models already. And you could even, if you just use Whisper, just thinking out loud here, maybe state the meeting like, hey, this is a meeting with, and you just say the names. We have Alex here, we have Dave here, and then in the back end you can create a little function that can map that to specific emails, so company profiles, and then you solve the problem of not being able to identify speakers, but you still have all the context of the people in the meeting.
I had a meeting last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They were recording their phones, calling, basically, and the agent wasn't linked to the phone number.
Okay.
Not all the meetings started with their names, the name of the agent, but after one day, they say, okay, every call from now on starts with the agent name.
Yeah.
With ChatGPT, we can extract that and link the phone to the call. Yeah, to the name of the agent.
Ah, okay.
And it's, I don't know, a minor adjustment.
Yeah.
Also for the meetings, there are some tools that help you prepare for one. They list the participants, they list the topics, they from the beginning of the meeting. So when you start the meeting, you already know these things.
Yeah.
And then it will be so easy because you have the structure, exactly what you pointed out.
Yeah.
At the end, it's so easy to evaluate if those topics were reached, if everything is okay, and to evaluate it.
Yeah.
The
Very
tools are
clever.
here.
Yeah.
The tools are
The
here.
tools are here, and this is really also something we've talked about yesterday. Like the models are here, the capabilities are here, and now it's up to us to create smart applications and solutions using these tools. And those can be small things like mapping a cold call conversation from a sales agent to the actual agent. It's a very small thing, but yeah, if you with your company already try to create a kind of like an ecosystem or a place, a server where you can start to implement these little functions, you know, like once you have the core like architecture, and the frameworks to run everything that you're seeing right now, it's very easy to add little services on top of that, you know, like because setting that up is like I think the hardest part to get started, you know, going from proof of concept, or MVP, running it locally on your laptop to putting things in production. I think the first application is the hardest, but then once that is in place, and you know now we have an API or a scheduled script, you know, like it just runs every night. I don't know, do a cron job, run every night to process it. Once you have that in place, you can start to really think creatively. Okay, if we can do this, we can also use it for that. We can use it for that. We can use it for that.
Extend the functionality.
Yeah.
And it's really, really easy to extend it. If you have the core, the engine, as you said, then it's just a matter of adding feature or reusing it in some use cases like you did in the program. You copy-pasted some function, but you can also make that function available to be used externally, let's say, by all the programs, and you don't need to copy-paste it.
Yeah.
So basically you build your ecosystem step by step.
Yeah.
But the engine is important to understand the basic functionalities, exactly what you show us in the last 3 days. So I don't know what to say for our viewers. Just let's start coding. Let's start trying things. It's important to make baby steps. And afterwards, after you understand the ecosystem and what you can do with it, your businesses and your imagination are the only limits to your increasing productivity or launching new products or exploring all kind of crazy ideas, let's say. In the past, it was very hard. You needed programming teams. You needed lots of money to build an MVP or a POC. Now with this technology, you can come really, really fast to show or to try a product that you want to create. Also, the results with these LLMs are way better than trying the old ways, or it opens up new horizons. Because this technology being generative and understanding and it understands really, really well what you are doing with those documents, it creates, basically, it pushes the boundaries really, really far. It removes them, actually. So in these moments, you really think that you can build almost anything with proper.
It kind of feels like that. Yeah. And maybe one more interesting thing we've talked about this Monday and also Tuesday even. If there are people watching from companies or have employees that feel like, hey, I want to start working on this, like the 3 months that you need in order to get started. I know someone in my company who wants to do that, or you yourself maybe wants to do that. And for that, what I have is I recently launched a free group, a free community online that anyone can go to and just join the group, and it's called Data Alchemy.
Yep.
And you can go through that by going to school.com/data alchemy, which you can see here in the browser. And this is a place that I've designed to not only learn about data science and artificial intelligence and talk about it, so you can look into the group and you can see people asking questions, people starting to interact with each other. But I've also created what I believe are really like the core set of tools and fundamentals that you need in order to get started with artificial intelligence, whether that's the more like classical route of going really all into data science or machine learning, or playing around with large language models like we did today. So if you feel like, hey, the example, the demo that I saw, that is something I want to learn how to do, then I put together what I call the Alchemy Codex, which is a step-by-step program with mostly YouTube videos from that I created in the past, but also some links to some additional resources to fill in the gaps, to really get someone from zero, so zero programming experience, to being able to run and understand what we were just doing. So it starts really with an introduction, how you can get help in this group, to how you can actually install Python on your laptop so you can run this, and then the intro to programming, so really like fundamentals about what is programming, what should I know, and then about Python, and then also how I set up the application that you were viewing, so how did this thing, so you can write something and you can run it, how to do all of that, all the way to project structure, environments, using GitHub, and even some workflow tips with Copilot, ChatGPT, like I've shown you as well. So basically everything that I did, if you go through all of these videos, you'll have a pretty good understanding of that. So that's just for people out there. It's completely free. You can go to school.com/data alchemy and join the group.
We are currently working on the same thing, but for Romanian language.
Okay.
We started a week ago. Adrian already announced it. We are in the process of making it happen. Almost, let's say, the same thing, but more entrepreneurial oriented, not so much programming stuff. With tools, prompting, and concepts, so you can start from basically zero, and then use it. We will try to focus on the, let's say, business side, so you can have your prompts and to have your tools for your use cases, for your industry maybe, and everything it will be in Romanian language. We want to make it accessible because we find really low resources in our language.
Okay.
This is one point. We will announce it, I think, next week, the platform.
Interesting. Very exciting. Yeah.
I will want to wrap up our 3 days with some, let's say, questions. One of them is that you talked with Adrian yesterday about the future of AI.
Yeah.
But you talk on longer term, let's say, where will the humanity go, where are the next steps, and so on. Mm-hmm. Well, my question is more on practical side, and it's how do you see AI in the next 6 months, in the next year? How do you see this evolution?
Sure. So if we're talking like let's say like 6 months to a year, what I foresee coming is, first of all, a lot of like the big players, big applications, big software applications already will start to integrate AI more and more into those. I think we will even see the release of Copilot for the Microsoft Office stack. So right now Copilot is available within a code editor, but they're also going to release it in Word, in PowerPoint, in Excel.
Even in Windows.
Even in Windows itself. So I think that will be one of the biggest impacts to just the people in general using technology. Because right now what we're doing over here, this is really for a select tiny portion of the people that actually want to understand and do something with this. But I think that will really broaden up AI, similar to, so ChatGPT did that in a way, so making it accessible to anyone. But there are still a lot of people who have never used ChatGPT, who maybe tried it once, heard about it, or haven't heard about it. But I feel like, just if we look at the general working force, the working people, almost everyone uses like Word or PowerPoint on at least a weekly basis. If you work in a company that uses Microsoft tools, which are a lot of companies.
Yeah, really.
A lot of companies. So I feel like 6 months to a year, we will see integration into those tools. And that will really be for like the broad audience, seeing like, okay, this is AI, this is what I can do with it. And I think they're going to take a really step-by-step approach, of course, because you're not going to launch such a big like update and features like all of a sudden, like here it is. I think it will really start small. Like brainstorm ideas, summarize some text, kind of like how Notion we talked about yesterday, the application, the note-taking app, basically, which can do a lot more than taking notes, but they already introduced that. So that is what I see coming soon, basically, and that will really broaden up the accessibility to AI. And then the other, like I said, big key players will start to incorporate more AI functionality in their applications. So it just gets smarter, it gets better. I think also development teams, development companies are really going to like change their workflows, where you really like switch to GPT assisted, GitHub Copilot, refactoring, testing. I think that is where behind the scenes there are a lot of things happening already. But I feel like that is where also a lot of changes will happen.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Managing a development team?
Well, I think that the productivity will rise.
Yeah.
I already see this in our company.
Yeah.
So if you try to replicate this, and okay, we have 10 programmers, but if you have 100 or 200, the productivity and the speed, the velocity of development will rise. And you will be able to do or to try more things with the same team and the same time. Also, I think your point of view for the introduction of AI to the masses, let's say, besides ChatGPT, who had the fastest reach to 1 million users, I think that using their products, because Microsoft is huge and have a very big audience, which will help them understand the advantages. But not only that, because we are talking about AI, we are seeing that this will change the world, but the people don't really use it, don't try to use it. They are not willing to, even ChatGPT, there are 1 million accounts. Actually, I don't know how 100 or that, but they are not using it. I saw the statistics, and there were something like 5% only of
users actually use it. So most of the people just signed up and then tried it once and never looked. Yeah.
They missed the prompt, or they said something general. The results probably weren't what they expected, and they quit. But when you use it day by day, like in products that you love or are not necessarily love but mandatory, you will get the hang of it, and maybe from that point, the adoption will be very large.
Yeah.
I saw yesterday a poll on Romanian population, and they said that 2 out of 3 people think that in the next 1 or 2 years, AI will completely change their lives.
So 1 out of 2 or 3?
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 think AI will completely change their lives in next 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure that the poll was really, really well done.
Okay.
Because for Romania, that seems a little too much, let's say.
Yeah.
Because we still have problem with digitalization or...
Yeah.
But this means that people trust, or I expect a very big change from AI in the next 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one or two more questions.
Yeah, sure.
How can we integrate LangChain with our products, with existing products? How do you see this flow? Is that possible?
Yeah, definitely. So LangChain can, I believe as of right now, it's written, you can use it in Python or within JavaScript, and there are probably other wrappers by now as well. But if you want to integrate it, you could, for example, create first like a new application, a service that you can make available via an API. So if you have your existing application that is running, and at some point you want to integrate AI, you want to do something with it, you want to generate something, then what you could just do is, like I said, create a new endpoint, do a request to that endpoint, send some data, hey, this is what I want to do, and then on the surface, let the AI do its thing, and that's all via LangChain, so that just makes it really convenient. And then you get the result back, and you can just send that back as the response, and then you can pick that up within your application.
Okay, basically you are saying that we can build blocks with it,
Yeah.
independent blocks. All we need to do is to have the input, and then from there we'll take the output and integrate it in the sources of our programs or
Yeah.
day by day.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds pretty easy. And
Yeah. To get started, it's pretty easy. Yeah. To do it well, it's of course,
okay, right. Okay, let's say, and the last question that I want to ask you is, we talk a lot about what domains would change through AI.
Yeah.
What do you think about the domains that, let's say, cannot be touched by AI? Will there be AI in some domains that for now we consider it untouchable?
I believe this has more to do with, I think, like really to be honest, AI can be applied everywhere, but of course to specific like tasks that you need help with. And right now, if you just look at like the medical world, for example, you're not gonna let AI make decisions there. You're gonna help maybe make decisions, but you want experts being in charge. And I think there are a lot of industries right now where we as humans always would like to have, or at least for now, would like to have a human in the loop. But then if you just think about helping to, I don't know, maybe process information, extract information, do repetitive tasks, I really believe that any industry right now that is using some form of like digitalization, some form of like scripts or data, then AI can help with that. Not to the degree where it's completely taken over and will replace humans, but maybe in small portions, administrative work, every industry could potentially benefit from that. And going, like looking a little bit more into the future, I guess we have to find out. I think I also personally feel like, yeah, of course, we want to keep like the human touch with certain things. For some things, you want to just interact with humans. But that's really the idea that we have right now. Maybe in like 5 or 10 years, we're like, yeah, but an AI is much better at it. It's much faster. It's much more efficient. Why would I need a human for that?
You can have an avatar.
Yeah,
let's say.
you can have an avatar. So I'm not sure how this will progress, how this will change down the line. But of course, if we look at the like core human needs, humans always will have the need to like socialize and communicate. And feeling that you're part of a group. I think AI will never replace that, but it's going to just help us do things and tasks just way more efficient. But I think just those basic human needs, I don't really foresee a future where AI is going to replace that, where it's just like, oh, I don't need my real friends anymore. I have my AI friends. So I really believe at that like core, like foundational human level, AI won't replace that.
Yeah, I can see this happening. Also the part with the emotions and social needs.
Yeah.
We cannot maybe replace it with, let's say, text and stuff, but not with not the real touch.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some questions in our app. Okay, just a second. How do you assess the risk of adversarial attacks against language models like those from OpenAI? And what strategies are employed to mitigate those risks?
Sorry, what was it? How do you mitigate the
adversarial attack?
adversarial?
How do you assess the risk of adversarial attacks against language models like the one from OpenAI? And what strategies are employed to mitigate those risks?
And what? I don't quite get the question in terms of like what kind of like attacks? How do you assess the risk of adversarial? What does adversarial mean? I don't know what it means.
When the Adrian talk about this, when the possibility of having multiple results, I guess. I'm not pretty sure.
Would it mean something in the terms of like you can try to kind of like hijack the model from the user perspective? So OpenAI right now puts limits on the models in terms of like what they can say and what they cannot say, and through like smart like prompt injection, you can sometimes trigger these models to produce outcomes that you would not like to have within within these models. Is that maybe where this is about?
I guess. I think we can reply to this later in the app.
Yeah,
we have in the new version of the app, we have the option to reply to those questions.
Okay.
Okay, Olympus says, maybe we could format the text as Markdown using ChatGPT, and it will automatically add bullet points. And we can use the Markdown later on a web page where we will upload all summaries. I think he is referring to the format of the documents.
You could definitely do that. Like once you have the actual text, the content, you can put it into like whatever kind of format you want, and even create like put it on a website, publish it. Yeah.
Okay. How do you anticipate the world of AI research and application changing once quantum computing becomes more mainstream accessible?
Yeah, so I think that will just accelerate everything. You know, like right now we're still seeing like these huge costs to train these models. So I don't know how much, but OpenAI put tons of money, millions, billions, probably, no, it's millions, I guess, but into training these models. And right now that is, it still requires a lot of time, effort, energy. But I think as we first better understand these models and the kind of like data they need, and computing becomes more efficient, cheaper through like quantum computing, I think that will just accelerate things even more. So I think it's it's all about scale and acceleration. So I don't see how. So the fundamentals remain the same, of course.
The technology is the same.
The technology is the same. It's just a way to accelerate everything.
Yeah.
I feel.
Instead of waiting for a prompt 30 seconds, it will be probably instant.
Instant, like the thing we saw with Whisper right now. We had to wait wait like 1 minute or something like that, and in the future we'll be like, and we have it.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's wrap this up with our partners. We stay at Alesi Resort, Beach Resort. We also encourage you to come physically here, to be in the audience. You can also, the main advantage is that you can talk with our guests. So let's say if you were here in the last 3 days, you could have live questions for Dave, and the chat would add more value for them. All the sessions are in our app and on our platform. Starting from today, in about 2 hours after we finish this live meeting. So tomorrow you find us here at Nuba Beach. Our guest will be Mihai Vânătoru from DVF. It's a it's a big company, SEO company in Romania. He will replace Răzvan Căzănescu, who was our initial guest, but from objective reasons he couldn't came. So Dave, thank you for these 3 days, for these 3 wonderful days, for helping us start with LangChain and large models, for these all concepts you presented, and all the live demos, also the live coding. And I hope that you'll come to Romania again and have another session, let's say in about 3 or 6 months, so we can evaluate what happened in our 24 waves of AI sessions. Thank you very much once again, and good luck.
Thanks, my pleasure. Would love to come back, see in 6 months where we were just talking about it. Where will we be in 6 months? We can reflect back on that.
Yeah,
if we were correct.
It will be very interesting to see that.
Yeah. All right.
Ok, vă mulțumim foarte mult. Să aveți o zi frumoasă.